team of the 90s has its world championship.
Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.
Good evening to you, Facebook. I've been long overdue doing this stream. Finally, we're getting a chance to talk about one of the best weekends in Atlanta sports history for all of us. After 26 seasons, the Atlanta Braves have finally won another World Series. When they won a World Series in 1995, I was 4 years old. What's going on, cousin? And they won a World Series in 1995. I was 4 years old. I don't really remember that World Series a lot. I remember the 99 World Series when we lost to the Yankees. I was 8 years old. It was at Turner Field. But the Braves have had a lot of pretty good teams going down the stretch. Like we've had several squads that probably were World Series worthy. The early 2000s, we had those Gary Sheffield teams. In 2010, we had that team. You had the Chipper Jones squad in 2012. We've had some good teams, but last year was an opportunity we felt like we got away from, and it was just baby proud that we got it done this time around, because this road was a lot harder for this version of the Atlanta Braves than the previous version last year. To me, we had Acuna last year, we had Ozuna last year, we had more talent, in my opinion, up front last year, but we had more depth this time around, and that carried us to the dub, carried us to a World Series win, taking out the Astros in 6 games. I actually said Astros and the Braves are going to win it in 6, which, that made me proud. Made me proud more than anything else. I don't know if you have a copy of this. If you don't, this is the official AJC copy of the World Series Championship. Not sure if you got this. I don't know if they're still selling in the store. But get you a copy of this. This is going to be something, excuse my bad. Get you this copy. This is going to be something that is going to carry for a long period of time. Also, this is what was given out to us at Truist Park at the parade for the World Series. That was a World Championship poster that they gave out. They were being real stingy about that, by the way. I was lucky to get one. My brother was lucky to get one as well. Also, as you see, I added this to the stream. It's the World Series Championship banner for both of those things to go on All In with Nate stream now going forward. But again, for all of you on here, I don't know how this felt for you, but it just felt surreal. It felt surreal seeing the Atlanta Braves win a World Series, because of all the teams growing up in this city, the Braves was the first. I will be lying to you if I say that the Falcons was the first team I fell in love with. I talk about the Falcons more than any other team on the stream, but the Braves is what I grew up enjoying. I grew up watching them, going back to the 90s, watching Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, Javi Lopez, the pitching staff of Smokes, Glavine, and Maddox. That's who I grew up loving, because we saw them going to the World Series pretty regular. They were in the NLCS on a regular basis. So, this was different to actually see the team get it done. But this season felt special in several ways. I got to give credit to AAR GM. He made an outstanding trade deadline moves where he brought in Soler, brought in Ramir. Let me just say, Eddie Rosario came in for absolutely nothing. We gave up Pablo Sandoval for Rosario, and Rosario won NLCS MVP. Soler, who was in Kansas City on a bad team, won World Series MVP. And Jock Peterson was the key guy in the National League Divisional Series. He also had a great regular season. Adam Duvall, who was on the team actually last year, had a great series as well. So, it's amazing how everything from that trade deadline just went well. And it's an amazing thing to watch your team win the World Series. And also the experience of taking my brother to a championship parade. Like that was something that was so exciting throughout the whole time. I don't know if you went to the parade. Anyone that went to the parade, I would love to get your input on how it was for you, but it was amazing for me. I actually didn't get a chance. I was outside at the Battery in that parade route, but it was so packed that I just went ahead and went inside the stadium, watched the parade on the big screen, and got a chance to partake in the ceremony. I'm sure a lot of you seen on my stream on Friday. I went ahead and went inside, enjoyed the festivities and everything. Also got a chance to record several things from the game, from the ceremony. It was awesome. I think that was an amazing experience for us as Atlanta sports fans, and I hope that we get a chance to see more of those moments with this organization, because the team that won the World Series is the team that you least expected. I mean, these guys won 88 games in the regular season, and they went through a gauntlet with the Brewers, the Dodgers, and the Astros. That was a gauntlet that they went through to even win the World Series. They were underdogs in every series that they played. So the fact that you got a World Series championship out of it speaks volumes about how this team progressed. Because I mean, we really went through a rough spot. We were at one point 5 to 6 games out of first place from the Mets. The Mets had a pretty decent lead at one point in time with this with the NL East, and for them to go make those moves and hit on every single move is absolutely incredible. Because at the end of the day, this is a Braves squad who had to get everything to go correct, and it did. And that's the great thing about it. And I hope that they can build off of it going forward for their organization. And I want to just go, before I give everybody a chance to make comments and everything, I want to go on here and show the amount of free agents that we have coming up, because that's the beauty of winning a championship. Let's see. BG, what's going on, brother? He said, is this the greatest MLB championship won ever due to the circumstances? It has to be one of the greatest ones. Honestly, it do. Because the Braves won a championship with a 88 win squad. We've had the worst record of every team entering the postseason. It doesn't. And let me get this out the way for people I've seen several national pundits mention this. And they mentioned that, well, the Braves won the division. They didn't go through the gauntlet of dealing with the Giants and the Dodgers. This is the thing. Don't blame baseball. Don't blame us for what took place, because at the end of the day, we still had to go through a gauntlet ourselves to even win the whole thing. The Brewers were not a bad squad. They won, I think, 94 games. The Brewers had a pretty good squad going into the postseason. The Dodgers just happened to be a wild card team to take on the 107-win Giants. Those two beat each other. The Dodgers, to me, and I'm not sure how everyone else feel about the Dodgers, they, to me, were our biggest threat, because the Dodgers came in with Matt Scherzer. They had Trey Turner they got from Washington. They had a loaded squad, and they just won the World Series last year. So, to me, that was the squad that we nearly knocked off last year and blew a 3-1 lead. So it was a lot of history running on that series. So to me, to see them win that series and to go deal with an Astros squad who was the best offense in baseball through the regular season and take them out of 6 games, you have to credit it as one of the best runs we've ever seen, because it's hard to do that. It's hard to go through that gauntlet and win a World Series. That Astros squad was not a bad squad. Cheating aside, we know we give them the jokes about cheating. I know a lot of people can't stand them, but you had Altuve, you had Correa, you had Bregman, you had Alvarez, who had an outstanding American League Championship Series. And these guys really didn't get going a lot. Alvarez did nothing in the World Series. To me, they had maybe one really good day offensively. That was Game 5. And that's because I think the bullpen was just exhausted that day. But we end up turning around in Game 6, and Max Fried pulled off an outstanding performance to win the World Series for us. Ace, what's going on, bro? How you doing, man? I hope everything's well. JD, what's going on, bro? He said it's better than the 69 Miracle Mets. Yes. To me, you have to consider this as one of the greatest championship runs we've ever seen, because of the circumstances. And again, nothing against what the rest of the league did. Yes, the Braves you can say the Braves were in a bad division, but they still got it done. You still have to you can make the playoffs all day long and go home in the first round, and nobody can remember that. We could have easily been a one and done team, but we weren't. We went and won a whole World Series and probably didn't have Ronald Acuna, our best player, got hurt in July. Wasn't even a part of this second half surge. The Braves won 44 games in the second half of the season. That was amazing. And also a tribute to Hank Aaron. But for the ones of you coming onto the stream, we'll show it to you again if you didn't see it the first time. This is the poster. I'm sure, JD, you've seen this poster. This is the poster they gave out at Truist Park for the World Series championship. I just want to show that one more time I know the stream just had a lot more people jump on. And welcome to the stream, y'all. And this is the official AJC paper. If you did not get this copy, the copy is $3. I'm not sure if they're sold out still at the moment, but the thing is, okay, so you did okay, good. You got one, good, you got one, good. So you do have one of those. Great. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, it was hard going to the AJ. It was hard getting them that first day because I actually had a family death, so I didn't even get a chance to get it day one. So day two, I was able to get it, thankfully. Chris, what's going on, cousin? She said if Charlie Morton would have pitched game 5, they would have won in 5. The Astros only won 1. Absolutely. And that's another thing. And that's a great point that you just made, because if we're going to be honest, game 2, you can really say that we lost game 2 because of those shifts. Because that second inning where the Astros went on that 4-5 run second inning, we had a whole bunch of shifts on that second inning. You know, they got a lot of base hits in that. They had to pull. To me, the Astros won. They did what the Dodgers did. Championship teams respond when they're at the back on the wall. The Dodgers just happened to win both of their games in LA. The Astros was the only team that got a dub in Atlanta for the postseason. That speaks volumes about how big Truist Park played an advantage in our run. So for them to get that win and then us to go to Houston, and let me speak on this note right here for the ones of us that are Atlanta Falcon fans. That was a big win in regards to us, because as all of you well know, we blew the 28-3 lead in Houston in their stadium in Super Bowl 51. So that was a big win for the city of Atlanta. And then we go into game 6, Max Fried like he's going to roll his ankle, and then you turn it on and have a Greg Maddux-like performance that's just incredible. You can't do nothing but salute the guy for what he did. So the Braves absolutely deserve to win this World Series. They did. They deserve to win this World Series, and I would love to see many more. But again, they got it done in the most amazing circumstances, and I hope that this sparks the rest of the city's professional teams to really take that next leap, because at the end of the day, there's nothing against what the Atlanta United did. Hold on. Asian, I'm going to put it to you like this. Yes, the Braves have 4 World Series championships, but they've won 2 in Atlanta. I don't count what they did in Milwaukee or Boston, even though it's a part of their franchise history. Like the Hawks actually have an NBA Finals championship in St. Louis, but I don't count that because it wasn't done in Atlanta. To me, I only count what's done in Atlanta, because I can't sit here and run around screaming like, and this is no jab at Laker fans, but I'm going to go ahead and put this out here too. The Lakers scream they have 16 rings, 16 or 17. I don't really they have, but 11 or 12 was done in LA. The other 5 was in Minnesota. I can't scream we have 4 championships if they weren't all done in Atlanta. I don't care what the organization did in another city. I'm not going to count those championships because, one, I wasn't even alive for. My mom wasn't even alive for those championships. That championship was in 1957 and in 1913 or 14. But my grandparents weren't even born for that championship there. I can't sit here and count those other 2. I can only count 95 and 2021. JD said, agree with me. See, you understand where I'm coming from. Thank you. I can't sit here and count those other, because if we're going to count those other titles, then you're going to count the Hawks winning the championship in St. Louis, and I'm not going to do that either. The Atlanta version of the Hawks have not been to an NBA Finals. That St. Louis squad won that championship. Same thing for the Braves in Milwaukee and Boston. Those squads won those World Series, not the Atlanta Braves. This is their second championship. When you look at this city, this is the third professional championship. A lot of folks don't count the Atlanta United, but I do. That was an MLS championship that brought us some international love to where we were able to host an all-star game and get a chance to compete on multiple levels. That's a whole different ball game. But in the city, that's our third professional championship and our second championship with the Atlanta Braves. We can all argue and say that the Braves should have had more than 2 championships, which they should have. They had the greatest pitching staff of all time in the 90s with Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, and Tom Glavine. But we're not going to go – I'm not on here to talk about what they should have did in the 90s. I'm talking about what this group did now. This group did their job. And it's guys on this team who truly deserve it. Brian Snitker, let me go ahead and say I gave him a lot of heat on and off throughout the year. He deserved it. You coach for 45 seasons and come up and down. Hold on. JD, let's see what you said. I do count the Atlanta United as a different. Thank you. The United winning a championship was fun. I enjoyed it because their first year, there was a playoff team at Bobby Dodd and then to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So they did an outstanding job as well. But year 2, they really took that leap in for an international stance. That's where I say the Atlanta United title was amazing for us. But as far as the Braves, this sits so different. The Braves, if you grew up a lot, and some of you, not to say that all of you didn't grow up seeing this, but most of us that are on this stream grew up seeing the Braves on TBS. Before TBS blew up to be this big time thing nationwide, this is what you were used to. You used to the Cubs on WGN and the Braves on TBS. That's where you knew how you got your fans outside of like the obvious Dodger, Yankee franchises that had big fan bases. The Braves grew a fan base on TBS, and the Dodgers grew, the Cubs grew a fan base on WGN. So we have a lot of folks that's in the Southeast. Like prime example, there's a lot of my buddies that are New Orleans Saints fans that are diehard Atlanta Braves fans. They're out there partying just like we were on Tuesday night. So again, this is different because the Atlanta Braves are huge in this city. They're huge to this fan base. My cousin said yes, and listen to them on the radio whenever the Braves built that national fan base like that to where everyone's excited to see them win. Pete One Princess, hey cousin. Again, make sure that you're following her on YouTube if you are big on outdoors, on the outdoor stuff as far as fishing and all kind of different things. She is the best one to go to. I think she's well over 600 subscribers now. Get her even higher because she has great content. I approve on. I got to be on her show one day. I'm not the best person at fishing, but I want to do it. Let's see. Nelson, what's up, bro? He said the Braves were considered America's team because they're great. Thank you. And that's the thing. The Braves are kind of in that spot baseball-wise that you can kind of consider Dallas in for the NFL, even though I'm not saying that we have the same type of fan base. But the Cowboys, the Cowboys stay on national TV. The Steelers stayed on national TV. They're winning Super Bowls. The Braves, even when they were bad, was on TBS. So when they started winning, of course, people were like, hey, I grew up watching these boys. A lot of folks probably fell in love with them in the early 90s with those runs. We fell in love with them, but I was born in 91. Just to go ahead, of course, I was born in 91. Hold on. Hey, Key. Hey, Key, I'm glad you're watching the show. The Braves I was born in 91. Sure, some of you were probably born in 90. I know a couple of us born like 90, 92. Some of you were born in 90, not even so much from the age perspective, but if you grew up watching the Braves, like when I grew up watching them in the 90s, I didn't see the bad Braves. So I'm not used to the Braves being like that stretch they went through in the late 2010s. I wasn't used to that because when we grew up, the Braves were in the World Series, was in the National League Championship Series. They had won 14 straight division titles. So just think about this. I was born in 91. The Braves stopped winning division titles when I was 15 years old. So I grew up watching this Braves team win every single year, making the playoffs. They weren't winning World Series, but they were consistently in the playoffs. They were consistently going deep in the playoffs. They weren't winning World Series because you were in the middle of that Yankees dynasty from the late 90s and the early 2000s, but they were always in the playoffs. So that's another thing that came into factor. We both watched this, Savannah. Hey, Savannah, I'm glad you're watching too. I got to call y'all and see what you thought about it after the show. JD said Atlanta Braves is the only team I've ever seen that bring Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, South Carolina, and Georgia. Yes, this is a fan base that is this Southeast fan base. It's a South. It grew up in the Southeast, but you have fans all over the country that follow the Atlanta Braves. But the thing is, like I said, the Braves reach a big reach a big group because, again, there are people that are in the state of Louisiana that has Atlanta Braves memorabilia. Like when I used to be on Twitter years ago, I had got a copy of the 95 World Series game from a Braves fan that lives in Louisiana. They had that kind of memorabilia. And that's the type of things that's the beautiful part about Atlanta Braves baseball. It connects people from all over because you may not even, a lot of folks aren't Falcon fans, but they're Braves fans. But you know what I'm saying? You have people that are fans in different teams. Like a lot of people in Florida, they may or may not get down with the Marlins, but most people are going to watch the Braves. They grew up watching the Braves. The Marlins came along in 1993. The Braves were already in the middle of going to the World Series in 91 and 92. So when you go look into that, the Braves have this connection with the fan base. Like I said, there's nothing against the Falcons, but the Falcons didn't gain a lot of notoriety into the early 2000s under the Mike Vick era. You don't see a lot of people saying, "Oh, I grew up nationwide," and said they followed the Falcons. Now, some in the Southeast did, but not for the most part. Then you got the Georgia Bulldogs. You know, Georgia's a big time college. This is a big college state. So outside of the Braves, you got UGA. But the Braves have always been that one thing that's connected a Southeast group of fans. So that's a great point that he just made. JD also said a lot of us don't remember the 95 season. This is championship the first for me other than the United. Yes, this is my first championship that I can remember. Like, I took my brother with me to Truist Park to enjoy the experience. He's 13 years old. So for my brother here's remembering the Falcons going to the Super Bowl in 2016. He was 9 years old, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That was his, unfortunately, I hate to say this, that was his birthday. The 283 game was his birthday. Because we had took him out to celebrate with him because we all knew the Super Bowl was about to play on his birthday, and that wasn't a fun day for him. But he's 13 years old now, and he's got a chance to actually see. He's 13, and what he saw in them 13 years, a lot of us didn't see until we turned in our 20s. Georgia didn't go to a national championship game until I was 26 years old. The Falcons go to the Super Bowl. I remember the Dirty Birds era, but I was 7 going on 8 years old in 98, 99. And then the Braves being in the World Series, I'm 30. This is my first experience with that. JD also said I grew up watching them too. I started watching them in the early 2000s. Their last run was 2003 and lost against Chicago. Yeah, I remember that series because, you know, they ended up going to play that's when the Cubs had the Bartman thing happen. I'm sure a lot of you baseball fans that probably remember that. Remember the Marlins knocked the Cubs off, and it was that Bartman situation, Game 6 of the NLCS. I'm sure a lot of you probably remember that. So that series was probably one of the years where it's just like they won 100 games. They should have went to the World Series. And that was like one of them lost seasons for the Braves. But again, like I said, that's the thing that grew for people in this city. JD said he forgot. The UGA has a big fan base, big college state. Crystal said the Braves are the only Atlanta team I follow, so I agree. Yes, a lot of people that may not necessarily follow the Braves, that they follow the Braves, but they don't follow the Falcons, they don't follow the Hawks, they don't follow UGA, but they follow the Braves. So to see the turnout for the Braves that happened was amazing. This whole postseason, the Braves, to be the Braves, and at the time, I'm sure a lot of you probably remember, I talked about this in my previous stream. The Braves went through that rebuild, and they did it like right in the middle of the whole situation when we had the Upton brothers, we had Brian McCann, we had Freddie Freeman, we had Jason Hayward. As you all remember, they blew that team up quick. And it was like, why are we blowing this team up? But they did it the right way. And I also have to say that same credit to the Houston Astros, who we played in the World Series. They went through this bad stretch where they went international. They went and recruited guys. They developed their farm system. And as you saw in this run, Albies was a part of that international stretch. Freddie Freeman been here since 2010. He's been on the Braves organization since 2007, but he came up in like 10 and 11 with Jason Hayward. And as you all remember, like he was one of the last guys left on a lot of those bad teams. He went through a lot of bad teams. And the simple fact that this man is able to celebrate having a World Series is amazing. I'm so happy for him. He deserves it so much. He truly deserves it, because at the end of the day, he was able to stay here throughout that whole time. And JD said, I hope that Freddie Freeman stays. Yes, I do too. I really do hope that he stays I hope he can finish his career in Atlanta, because he truly deserves it. And I gave him a lot of hard times because Freeman's had this up and down moments in the playoffs. But this postseason, getting that big hit in the NLDS, he had a couple big games in the NLCS and had an outstanding World Series, I must say. Freddie Freeman got a chance to get the job done and actually be a champion. Quentin, what's going on, bro? He said, do you think the team will look different next year? No way all the pickups come back right. Glad you said that. I'm going to share this screen. I'm going to share who's up for free agency coming into 2022. So we can kind of get into this topic, and you guys give your opinion on it too. But let's go to Sports Track real quick. The guys that are up for free agency. Let me get this clip out the way. I don't know why is this up. Okay, so the guys that are, let me zoom in some as well. I want you guys to be able to see it clear. If I can do that, I may not be able to. If not, it's fine. So Freddie Freeman is up. He's, of course, the number one guy on the list for free agency. Freddie Freeman is 32 years old. He has a market value of about $27 million on the market. I think the Braves will bring him back. I think the Braves are going to bring him back. Drew Smiley, I don't know. I don't consider him as you must keep him going forward. This is a tricky person right here, Soler. I want Soler back. And if they do decide, because to be honest with you guys, I know you probably have heard about it, but the Major League Baseball is getting ready to go through their collective bargaining agreement, and that could very well play a factor in the designated hitter coming into play. So if they do go to designated hitters in 2022, there's no reason you don't bring back Jorge Soler, because, I mean, you're going to have Ronald Acuna back. You can rotate him in and out of games when you want to, but I would love to have Soler back. I think Soler deserves another opportunity. Eddie Rosario is another guy who I think will be back, but Rosario has such an outstanding second half of the year. There could be a team that could pay here. There could be a team that could throw the bread at him and say, hey, I want to give him. Let's see. Peak One Person said, hey, people, come over from Facebook and give my cousin some likes and watch. Yes, that's correct. Make sure you go do the same thing. Go to YouTube and do the same thing. That's the name on the page. Peak One Princess. But yeah, like I was saying, guys, Eddie Rosario is a tricky one. I personally want to bring him back as well. But like I said, a team could say he was outstanding for the Braves. He could be in our championship future. Let's bring him over, and maybe we can possibly do something to make it work. That could be another thing that the Braves could consider going forward. And that could end up – the Braves are not going to overspend when you have a Ronald Acuna on your team and you have those guys that you have already in house. So Rosario, I want him back, but I don't think it's going to be they won't overpay for him if he does get a big contract from somewhere else. That's what I truly think is going to happen. Jock Peterson, I love Jock Peterson. I just don't know if he's going to come back. I think that may be a one-season experiment that we had with him. I love Jock Peterson. I wish he could come back, but he may not be back. Somebody could throw the money at him as well. He was with the Cubs coming into this offseason. We got Stephen Vogt. He's going to he might retire. You got a World Series championship. I don't see any way that you may not. I don't see any way that you may bring. He may come back. He may retire. You got a championship. There's nothing else for you to do, to be honest with you. Let's see the rest of this roster. I'm not sure. Let's see. I don't see any other really big needs. Jesse Chavez, he may end up retiring as well. So that, the Braves will have a lot of big free agents that could play a factor in the season, either going up or down. But I think the Braves do have an opportunity to kind of bring back your core four to be your top. Well, I would say your core three, and that's Soler, Rosario, and Freddie Freeman. So those guys right there, I think will be back. The rest of them, they could very well be gone. So I want to show you guys the upcoming free agency list just to see where we're kind of at with this thing. But the Braves is definitely the Braves are definitely in a very, very interesting position because they got a lot of talent going forward from next season. And that's the thing that's going to be amazing for the Braves. We got Ronald Acuna coming back. You don't have a lot of turnover with this team. But there's one interesting thing about this team. We got a lot of depth. So I want to see how Acuna coming back affects certain players' playing time maybe next year. I guess we got to get a chance to see how the collective bargaining agreement come out and see how that plays out. Also, you got Mike Soroka, who was injured before the season. You're going to add that to having Ian Anderson and Max Fried back. So you may have a solid three-man rotation with those guys and maybe just plug in guys. I don't know how they're going to do it. But you got a lot of talent coming into 2022, and I'm excited about what the Braves can do going forward. But like I said, the biggest thing for me, the most amazing experience is the fact that we all got a chance to witness this. And they to me, I really want to get everyone's opinion on this one, this comment I'm about to make right here. For years, I thought the Atlanta sports curse was real. I think the Braves broke it. I think the Braves broke that momentum of we're cursed. They got it done. And in the most unexpected way, I'm proud of those guys. I'm really proud of those guys. It still doesn't even feel like we won the World Series, to be honest with you guys. It don't. I don't know how you guys are feeling. Yeah, it's been 5 days since the Game 6 happened. But again, this city has been buzzing. There was over 1 million people out there. I think it was more than that. And then also, I'm not sure if you all heard that the Braves sold over $30 million in revenue from winning this World Series. So it lets you know. And I want to go ahead and put this narrative out here that they have thrown to this area. The city of Atlanta and the state of Georgia do support their teams. But you got to put something on that field to get behind. It's not just about winning a championship. If you're a consistent playoff team, they're going to get out here and support you. The Braves were number 2 in attendance despite having an 88-73 record. So that tells you the type of experience that the Braves have a fan base where they've shown the desire to win, the desire to be a championship-worthy squad in and out. We knew that we were going to eventually win a World Series. I don't think we expected it with this team. I can be honest with you guys. I don't know if my boy Brian's on here watching right now. Brian, I have to give him credit. He told me way back late September, he was like, this squad is going to be special, bro. They can win a World Series. I necessarily didn't see it. You know, as a fan, you want to see your team win a championship, of course. But of course, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, because I knew the road that we had to go through. I felt good about the Dodgers. About the Brewers. I had no good feeling about the Dodgers. But once we got past the Dodgers, to me, that was your gauntlet. You always had to go through at big dog to take the next leap. To me, I look at it like this. If you seen, the Dodgers had been to several World Series. They had lost to the Red Sox. They lost to the Astros. Well, they lost to the Astros in 2017. And then they went to the World Series and beat the Rays last year, coming from down 3-1 on us. To me, you had to get over the hump of who you're losing to. And that's the thing with the Braves that they ran into. The Braves got over that hump to get to the World Series. So to me, you took out absolutely loaded squad in the Dodgers. As great as the Astros offense was, were you really concerned? These guys were confident. You took out the Brewers in 4 games. You did what you had to do. You took out the Dodgers in 6. The Astros did not scare those guys. And that's the beauty of this thing. Because to be honest with you, from an Atlanta fan perspective, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to be able to agree with this, I support all Atlanta teams, of course, as everyone knows. With the Falcons had to ran into a dynasty in the New England Patriots 4 or 5 years ago when we lost that Super Bowl. We've always had to go through the top dogs, and they've always not really stood tall to the top dogs to win a World Series or win a Super Bowl or win an NBA Finals. So to see this Brave squad who wasn't to me, when you look at the comparison from 95 and 2021, that 95 team, they were overdue. They went to a World Series and lost in 91 and 92. They were overdue in 95. This Brave squad, although we had been a 4 straight NL East champs, we lost last year. Nobody went into this postseason saying they're going to win the World Series. We went into this postseason like, let's see what we can do. Just get in and see what you can do. And that's what they did. They got the job done, and I'm proud of those guys. JD said, I am too, to be honest, felt like New Year's on Tuesday. I cried. Friday is the best Friday. I'm not going to lie to you. It got emotional for me because it still wasn't real. Because I went to Truist in the Battery area, and to see all these folks with their Braves gear on, to see the city shut down schools in several counties, let you know this is a sports city, a sports state, a sports town. So people that keep saying that Atlanta does not support their teams, that is ludicrous. It's not. Because the Braves are one of the top fan bases in Major League Baseball. The Falcons have fans. But again, you have to put a winning product to get out there on the field and go see those guys. People are supporting despite the losing that these guys have been doing. The Hawks, this is a basketball city. When the finals come on, the ratings are always high in Atlanta. This is a city that loves sports. But again, you get a team that actually win a championship that you can get behind, of course, Atlanta's going to be excited like it is. So that's why when I see people like, we got people that are bandwagon that's never watched a day of Atlanta sports, a day of Braves baseball, although I respect where you're coming from on that, I don't really mind that. Because at the end of the day, I seen one of my professional teams bring a city, state, and a region together to celebrate a championship. So I don't really care about who might jump on in the last series or get to the World Series. So, enjoy the experience with us because it was a hard road to get here. But what I hope that does for Major League, to me, the Braves set a standard for Major League Baseball that's going to be different though, because they just proved to the country, to the Major League, that the trade deadline matters. You can very well trade for certain pieces. They didn't have a superstar. I'll put it to you like this. The Dodgers traded for Trey Turner and Matt Scherzer, 2 of the best guys in in their respective positions. The Braves went and traded for a whole outfield. That whole outfield went on to win NLCS MVP. NLDS, the best. Jock was the best player in the NLDS. Soler is going to forever be remembered for winning World Series MVP. Forever. It doesn't matter what he do for the rest of his career. He won a World Series MVP. Rosario, doesn't matter what he does for the rest of his career. He's going to be remembered for tying the record for the most hits in a postseason series. He had 14 hits in that postseason series against the Dodgers of all teams. These guys are going to be remembered for what they did. This wasn't just a fluke run. These guys deserve to do this. And they did it in the most unconventional Atlanta way. They hit the home runs. They out-hit the Astros. Just think about that. The small ball, I will never take nothing against small ball, ever, never take it away from it. But the Braves did something that's not your average standard. Nelson just made a great point. He said the Braves changed the game. Watch MLB try to implement a rule requiring starters to pitch longer in games. Yes, the Braves got to a World Series and won World Series games with their bullpen. Tyler Matzik, Luke Jackson, Will Smith, AJ Minter, those guys pitched an outstanding postseason. They pitched incredible in the postseason. You saw your starters giving up 1 or 2 runs to one of the high-power offenses in the Dodgers, in the Astros. That's incredible. The Braves went and pitched 2 bullpen games. You don't see that often. And won one of them. They won a bullpen game in the Dodger series. That's incredible to see a team who lost Charlie Morton, by the way, in game 1, as my cousin mentioned earlier, to an injury. You were only up to 2 pitchers. Ian nearly pitched a no-hitter. He pitched a no-hitter through 6 in the World Series. That's amazing. That is incredible. Like, just think about that. He pitched a no-hitter in the World Series, and for 5 innings, he was out there. That's incredible. They only gave up 2 hits that night. You don't see that happen often. So as he said, the Braves set a standard that's going to be effective going forward. You're going to see other teams do this. Believe me when I tell you, they watch what the Braves did. They're going to implement that. Kevin said this team will be a lot better than this year's team. I could definitely see a repeat next year. They could do it. They could do it because they got talent coming in. They're going to get certain pieces back. So the Braves are going to be in the conversation. And then let's see how free agency plays out. Let's see where because of course, certain guys are going to be moved around. Certain guys are going to go to different teams. But the Braves, for the most part, is bringing back a bulk of their squad, which is going to be a huge factor in the 2022. This team definitely can be in the midst to repeat. They're going to be in the midst again, of course. But when you look at the situation of baseball, they're going to be in the midst again. They're going to be right back in the midst to compete for another World Series. They're going to be there. Kevin also said, with Acuna coming back, we have to decide on either Rosario or Soler. As I just mentioned earlier, I don't know if you were on the stream when I said it. If I'm the Braves, what I'm trying to do is this. I have Rosario and Soler so if they go to designated hitter, I'm going to bring back Soler. If they go to the situation where you can keep one or the other, of course, either way, I think they can have a shot of bringing both back. If not, then I'll definitely bring Soler back. Not saying Rosario's not good enough to come back, but Soler absolutely has to be back on this team next season. If we have to choose between 2, I want Soler. So the Braves have the Braves have done an outstanding job. Like, again, this was one of the best runs ever, and I hope it inspires the rest of this city to really take that leap going forward. The Falcons aren't going to do it this year. Of course they're not. They're nowhere near ready to be a championship. Nowhere near time. No time soon. But I hope that it inspires those guys. The Hawks are on the rise to become one of the threats in the Eastern Conference and in the NBA, of course. So I hope that sparks them as well. UGA is on the verge of possibly winning a national championship this year. And I owe them the conversation of doing a stream about them on here at some point. So that's going to be a conversation to come up in the near future. So the Braves, again, proud of those guys, man. I'm proud of what was done. And I hope all of you Atlanta Braves fans, I hope you had a great time with this season. This was a fun playoff run. This was a fun season. And, I'm still on cloud nine about it. Like, I still go back and watch the last out. I still go back and watch certain games. They were showing it on MLB Network last night, and I was just smiling because it's just like, man, we actually got it done. So, again, I'm so proud of these Atlanta Braves, and I hope going forward that this sparks them to be in a great position to win more championships. I hope the other teams in the city, other GMs in the city get inspired by that. But, again, salute to the Atlanta Braves. Outstanding series, outstanding championship run. You said the Bulldogs, they're close. They can do it this year. We're going to see what happens. We're getting closer to that time where we're going to see the good from the great. So we'll get a chance to talk about Georgia coming up on here soon. But again, thank you all for tuning into the stream. I really appreciate it. Like I said, if you ever want to jump on the stream and talk anything sports-based with me, you are more than welcome to. Feel free to hit my direct messages up or anything that I am on. I would love to have you. But thank you all for tuning into the stream once again. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. And this has been another episode of All In with Nate, the Atlanta Braves edition. See you guys soon.
Left center field. Grissom on the run. The team of the 90s has its world championship.
Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions.